So again, we touched on U.S. bank earnings a little bit throughout the show already, and the reason why we touched on it so often is again, it's a very important sector, obviously for the markets. The banks are the bloodline of any country, and obviously the U.S. being the most dominant country in the world. You know, I think roughly 20% or just under 20% of the world's wealth flows through the United States borders every single day. The United States is still the biggest power in the world. And so when you look at how the banks are doing, gives you a pretty good indication as to how the U.S. economy is doing. And as I said, GDP growth, very good, expected to be good this quarter when they release, and that's going to be reflective in the U.S. bank earnings. And I wanted to bring up a few more U.S. bank charts. First one, Wells Fargo, third largest, I guess fourth largest bank, third or fourth largest bank in the United States. You can see here how well the stock has done. It's had a tremendous run up. And when they released earnings recently, they actually were flat on the day. They didn't sell off like some of the other big banks did, Citigroup, which I'll show. I believe we have a chart on that shortly. And JP Morgan, Bank of America, sold off. Wells Fargo hung in there a little bit more. I think individuals weren't expecting their earnings to be as good. So they did surprise. They did surprise to the upside. Citigroup, as I mentioned, another chart that we have here. Citigroup's been on a fantastic run. Bit of a sell-off here at the end. Again, Citigroup actually was up last time I checked today, but it had a run up to about $62 or so, and now it's pulled back into the high 50s again. Unfortunately, Citigroup, even with all their restructuring, can't seem to get out of its own way. We get to this $60, $65 range, and we can't seem to cross it. And book value of Citigroup, if you sold off all its assets, everything it owns, they're talking about a book value close to $80. So it's trading well below its intrinsic value or book value. And so a name like this, everybody wonders when will it start to move higher? Goldman Sachs, a slightly different bank. We have a chart on that. Goldman had blowout numbers. They blew the lights out, surprised to the upside tremendously. And this stock actually went higher the day that they reported earnings. So very different than some of the other banks. Obviously, Goldman Sachs, more of an investment bank. They take companies public. They help companies issue debt. They do lots of different things, a little bit on the wealth management side. So Goldman Sachs has definitely had a good run over the past, I would say, few days based on the back of their earnings. Here we have Bank of America. We'll show it again quickly. That sold off when earnings came out. And a different bank that we showcase here every once in a while, PNC Financial. PNC, largest regional bank in the United States. They had mixed results, beat on, I believe, the top line, but not as good on the bottom line. And so mixed results shows a stock that has tailed off a little bit. Keep in mind, this stock, once upon a time, was well over $200 a share way back a few years ago, prior to the regional bank crisis they had in the U.S., I guess would be now a little while ago, over a year ago. So PNC Financial, a great stock to own, pays a great dividend, trades cheaply. U.S. Bancorp, a stock that reported earnings also, mixed bag. And USB, another name that I've been looking at for clients that can handle that volatility. But it's, again, another large regional bank that pays a great dividend and I think has tremendous potential for growth. So U.S. bank earnings, I guess to sum it up, great results, in my opinion, overall in general, but just didn't see the stock prices reflected. And again, I think it's just because they've had a tremendous run higher going into the release of the number. And after the release, I think investors just took profit.